Welcome back, Buccaneers fans, to another episode of Here Are the Cannons. My name is Caleb Skinner, writer and reporter here at BucsGameday.com. You can follow me on X at CHS Knoll. With me, as always, is River Wells, our lead editor at BucsGameday.com. You can follow him on X at River H. Wells as well. Not the result that the Buccaneers were looking for. Obviously, some things that can be fixed. 28-23, a little bit closer there in the end than it ultimately ended up. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
Ultimately, it looked like, the Bucs were going to, slow down and, Patriots were going to kind of pull away in this one. Bucs kind of kept it close. Big interception by Tyke Smith there in the end zone to give the Buccaneers a chance at the end, but unfortunately unable to convert there on fourth down. River, go ahead and just give us your thoughts on what the Bucs did well today, and then the areas where we need to see improvement, because Baker Mayfield said it starts with him, and then that is where the offensive issues come into play.
yeah. Todd Bowles said it goes down to everything. Execution in all three facets, and I think he was correct. The Bucs did not do too well in any facet of the game: special teams, offense, and defense. Unfortunately, I don't think it was tough sledding. The defense gave up massive splash plays all over the field. Four in particular, Todd Bowles mentioned. You had some big touchdowns, two from Travion Henderson, and then some receiving touchdowns there. So that was tough. Matt Collins, I believe, got a big one as well. And then on the offense, man, 5 for 13 on third down. That's 38%. That's not how you win football games. Baker Mayfield knows that. It's the little things they got to execute on. And like you said, they had a late touchdown there at the very end with 33 seconds left. But prior to that, it was 28-16. They get the onside kick. That statistically makes the offense a little bit better, maybe than they were playing most of the game. 2 for 3 in the red zone, but that last one came pretty late. So they need to execute better in the red zone. They have to get these third downs and pick them up. Be way better at that. That was a bread and butter the Buccaneers under Liam Cohen last year. Now, not so much under Josh Gazar in his 3-game offensive slide. The defense, uncharacteristically, like you said, giving up huge explosive plays, not executing, not doing the little things, and all of those things combined led to a pretty rough outing and a
Right.
Buccaneers loss. Yep.
Yeah, brutal. Things just seemed very slow, very, in the mud to start. That first half, really groggy, it seemed like, 1 o'clock
Yeah.
game, maybe a bit earlier. The weather's obviously not helping the situation either.
Right.
But the Buccaneers were just slow coming out. Offense didn't have any consistency. Stephon Diggs had a great day for the Pats, so you can give them credit there. I
He
want to
did.
touch on Benjamin Morrison's play a little bit, because he was being
Yeah.
inserted a little bit more here and there for Jamel Dean, for instance.
Right.
And
Right.
then he gave up you had the PI call and then the touchdown to Diggs
Yeah.
there. What are your thoughts on Morrison?
Yeah. I mean, it's a live by the sword and die by the sword type of thing, right? Todd
Right.
Bowles said that after the game as well. They've been rotating Morrison in with Jamel Dean all year, and he said we're not going to stop because of one game, and we're not going to stop because he had a few bad plays. That being said, Dean's been playing fantastic this year, the whole year. He's been playing at an all-pro caliber sort of rate, and they seem to want to rotate Morrison in despite his struggles, despite Dean's good play. So that's something that Todd Bowles emphasized post game. He said that's what we do, and we're not going to stop doing that. And in this case, it ended up being a little rough because Morrison did not have one of his better games against the Patriots today.
Yeah, not the greatest of showing by Morrison. Some definitely areas to improve on and learn from for him.
Yeah,
But going back over to the offensive side of the ball, the Buccaneers cannot stay healthy along the offensive line, River. Ben Bredesen going down after the first drive on the extra point with a hamstring. Not sure how severe it is. I'm sure MRIs and tests will be coming up early this upcoming week. Then we'll find out how serious, how long he's going to be out. But how big of a
yeah.
loss is that for the Bucs?
It'd be a pretty bad one, especially because they had their offensive line the healthiest it's been, like you mentioned, with Luke Gedeke back there at right tackle, and now you have Ben Bredesen at left guard. He's out due to a hamstring injury. He suffered actually right over there on the extra point. So that's pretty tough for them. They're going to have to hope that he can come back pretty soon to maintain that consistency along the offensive line. Otherwise, they'll have guys like Michael Jordan in there, who was in there today, and just another hit injury-wise to this offensive line. So that was kind of almost a freak thing that kind of happened today, but it doesn't really matter because the Bucs have not had very good injury luck all year, and this is another place that they were plagued there. So really tough, and hopefully he can come back soon.
Absolutely. Big plays, a big problem today. Explosive play after explosive play. It seemed like that's
Yeah,
the only way that the Patriots were able to, really do much of anything on the offensive side of the ball. They're running, rookie Travion Henderson, who hasn't played much. He has a day. It was
he
just an
does. He has quite the
uncharacteristic
day.
game. I think, yeah, I mean, it's uncharacteristic from a Bucs defense that was starting to play extremely well coming out of a bye. Um, bad PI calls on, Shepard got that pick as well there, pass interference, pick play, whatever you call it.
Yeah, he
That
ran
just rule.
directly into a defender there. Nothing more you can do about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing you can do about that. Unfortunately, it was called. Sometimes you can get away with that as an accidental, not necessarily a obvious PI called there.
Yeah.
For
No, that
on
was tough.
Shep.
That was tough.
But sticking
Yeah,
on the
execution.
offense, yeah, keep going.
Execution. It's the little things, and I gotta tell you guys, for anybody watching here, I don't think I've ever seen Todd Bowles and Baker Mayfield as pissed off as they were after this game, after this loss. Baker Mayfield said, I told the offense essentially that when we talk about things during the week and then we make the mistakes on those things in game, he said, you got to have some pride about that. He said it started with him making some overthrows and missing some targets, but he says that this offense should be angry about what's happening and they should hold themselves accountable when they're not doing those little things and allow them to execute at a high level. And Todd Bowles kind of had a similar message. He said it's about playing the game the right way and paying attention to those little things, and it's the little things that have really been getting the Bucs and what caused these massive splash plays. So that's
Hmm.
been really tough for them, and just a really bad game execution-wise coming out of this bye week where they were refreshed. They thought they were ready to go and practice, and they came out and played some really sloppy football, and that's what happens when you do that. You lose to a team like the Patriots.
Yeah, you can't beat good teams when you're messing up those little things, the small
No,
details, the
sir. No,
fundamentals.
sir.
You're
Yeah.
just not. It's not going to cut it, especially against a team that's got an MVP caliber quarterback sitting there behind center. You've got a team that's rallying behind their head coach and Mike Vrabel, and he's got them firing on all cylinders and a really good, really well balanced football team. You're not going to
Yeah.
win a game when you are just missing things up left and right. Some positives though to look at: the Buccaneers put up the most rushing yards on this Patriots number one rush defense, so that was
They
good
did.
to see. The run game bouncing back a little bit. You got to see a little bit more of Sean Tucker. I think he was the leading rusher for the Bucs today as well. So that was good to see. Run game starting to pick up a little bit. Obviously, still missing Bucky Irving. It would be great to have him and his explosiveness to be able to create those big plays that have been
It
missing
would.
since he went out. And then K Dotton. K Dotton had another solid day as well. Tyke Smith, obviously, with that pick. So big days for some of these guys. Not the greatest, but touch on those guys that I just mentioned, River.
Yeah, we talked to Baker Mayfield, like I mentioned, and he said, the run game worked really well, and it felt good to do it against the Patriots. And he said, we got to figure out why that worked so well. So we got to figure out why nothing else did, right? So he goes, it's about
Right.
paying attention to those things and being intentional in the way you prepare for your matches and then for your games. So that's a really big positive, and I think they could have done it more. To be honest with you, I think they could have run the ball a little bit more, especially in some of these
Yeah.
third and short situations where they ended up passing. Right when you had a run
Right.
game that was successful against this Patriots squad, so I think Sean Tucker should be more involved in the offense. I think once Bucky Irving comes back, he should still be more involved in the offense. So really good on that, and that was one of the few takeaways from this offense that I really liked. But otherwise, it was tough sledding.
Yeah. Tough sledding there. K Dotton being more involved in the offense was good to see. Now on the season. Another couple tough matchups coming up on the schedule of the road ahead. Buffalo
Yep,
Bills up next. Obviously, they just got upset today by the Miami Dolphins, which is a wild thing to see and say.
means that both teams are going to be pretty upset heading into this next one.
Exactly. And you'll be in Buffalo. It's going to be cold. So they're going to have to prepare for that. We'll see how they are able to perform up there in probably the most northern part of New York you could probably go. But that being said,
Yeah,
Buccaneers still the number one overall seed in the NFC South right now. Panthers lost to the Saints, so that, stays status quo.
yeah, it
They're,
does.
we'll keep looking at the NFC rankings as they they, the rest of these games continue to unfold. And but with that being said, Buccaneers still in a really good spot. Couple tough games before they end out the season with 4 out of.
Yep, gonna be tough. Got to make sure you can get those wins, and from there, we'll see if they can pick one up in this next 2-game stretch. Bills, Rams, brutal. Got to get one.
Got to get one of them. That being said, guys, we appreciate you for tuning in. If you are watching anywhere other than on YouTube, be sure to head over to YouTube, like, subscribe, comment. We truly do appreciate all the love that you guys show every single week. And with that being said, River,
Fire the cannons.
fire the cannons.